problem, like technique of production, lack of irrigation facilities, cropping patterns, and all that. Now this one, reform. These were the problem, basically some in the institutional problem was there, some common problem was there, some technical problem was there. But woman, what is the solution to this? Reform are basically the solution. Okay. So first of all, land reform. So land reform refers to the changes brought about in the agrarian structure through direct intervention of the state. So when it is directly intervening, that is called land reform. Now, to increase efficiency and productivity in the agriculture, to increase the efficiency as well as this, that is called a land reform. And abolition of intermediaries who will be coming in between, that they will abolish. And problem of voluntary surrender by the tenants and inadequate proof of tenancy. So these were the land reform. Then what were the general reform? Expansion of irrigation facilities, provision of credit, regulated market and corporation marketing society, and support price policy. Then Green Revolution, the HYV, NAS and the Green Revolution was launched in 1965. Use of package inputs, scientific rotation of crops, minor irrigation work were taken up, a rise in production and productivity, increase in income and increase in employment. Right? Green Revolution is very important. You cannot miss it. First of all, this one. And what was the achievement? What happened basically when Green Revolution was launched? Productivity and production, all of both increased. Yes. Increase in income also increased. Rise in commercial farming also like started commercializing. And impact of social revolution, use of new technology, HYVCs, fertilizers, etc. And now if more and more production is happening, you need more and more people. So of course employment also, some the people who are not getting employed, they got it here, right? Then substantial rise in average. So all these are basically the achievement of green forest. But again, some failures would be there. So what were the failure? It was restricted to these crops were and rice growing crops like Punjab, Haryana, UP and Andhra Pradesh only. Then partial removal of poverty. Poverty was removed but not fully, only partially. Then increase in income disparity between small and big farmers, right? Rich people were becoming rich, poor people were becoming poor. And ecological degradation. If you will not care about the environment, of course, ecological degradation would take place. These were the failures. Okay, so we'll quickly write it read it and then we'll move to the next one.
Then Yes. Mm.
Okay. Now we'll come to the industry. Okay, so what is industry basically? So role of industrial sector in India. Industrialization play an important role in economic development of a country. Industrially well developed economies are economically processed. In your country, if industries are in a good position, that means your country is economically prosperous, right? Now industrialization lies in meeting ever rising demand. Like you need industrialization, like 100 people are demanding and you don't have industries, so that's a negative point. Okay, raising people's income. So if people will be working in the industries, they'll get a source of income. Then high potential for growth, key to low volume of export. So export also need industrialization, then only you can export the finished good. Provide employments, right? And leads to modernization. If there are industries in your economy, that means modernization would be there, right? Industrialization is a precondition for the final takeoff of an economy. So this is a precondition. Now what happened basically? Industrial development since 1961, right? So what happened? Share of industrial sector in the GDP has increased by 20%. Earlier we say that at the eve of independence, there was nothing. There was no share for this. Then development of infrastructure like power, transport, communication, banking and finance. Also, human resource is also important. Much progress in the field of research and development, expansion of public sector. Growing up of capital good industry and growth of non-essential consumer good industry. All this. Then what was the problem? Sectoral imbalance. Agriculture and infrastructure have failed to provide the support to the industrial sector. Regional imbalance restricted to few states. There is regional imbalance. Higher cost of industrial product due to lack of healthy competition, right? And dependence on the government. Somewhere they are also dependent on the government for the reduction in taxes and all that. For performance of public sector, underutilization of capacity, increasing capital output ratio. All this. Then Industrial Revolution IPR 1956. Industrial policy is a important instrument through which the government regulate the industrial activities in an economy. The 1956 resolution laid down the following objective in the industrial policy. So, to accelerate the growth of industrialization, to develop heavy industries, to expand public sector, to reduce disparity in the income and wealth, to prevent monopolies and concentration of wealth and income in the hands of a small number of individuals. Okay, this is called IPR 1956. Then what happened? These are the fakes. So first of all, new classification of industries, right? A17, B12, and Schedule C like this. Stress on the role of cottage and small scale industries. Then industrial licensing is very, very important. That means if you want to establish your industry, you need license from the government. That is called industrial licensing. And then concession, we were offered by the private entrepreneur for establishing industries in the backward region. So what happened? If you will establish your industry in the backward region, you will get concession like tax rebate and the concession rate in the power supply and all that, right? So government want that in the backward area also there should be industry so that more and more people get employment and supply of electricity like that. Okay, so quickly read it up, then we'll move to the next. I hope I've scrolled, not a problem, right?
Yes.
Okay, done.
Yes.
Okay, this one. Then we will do the next one, public sector.
Then, ma'am.
Okay, both of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now coming to the public sector. Right? So public sector contains of all industrial and the commercial enterprises which are owned by the government. So whenever you get this word public, just remember that it is for the government they are talking about. Okay. So role, what is the lack of capital with the private entrepreneur? So there is no private person, right? And incentive among the PM, and like society may name of game and all that. And then public sector development of infrastructure, development of backward areas to prevent concentration of economic power, to promote import substitution, all that. Okay, and what are the problem? Up from okay, inadequate autonomy, high losses, burden of six, etc. Okay, then this were basically the public sector. And the public sector also they have like a 2T1 and all that, right? So problem is unprofitable pricing, overstaffing, management gap, underutilization of gaps, inadequate autonomy, high losses, burden of sick means all this are required. And, and then small scale industries. Small. Okay, let's just do this one. Then we'll move to the. Okay, done now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, there are three men and then small scale industry, right? So what was like small scale? How would you say it? That in these industry, basically, investment is not allowed to be more than 5 crore. Right, so that's why they are small scale industry. So what are the characteristics of role? So first of all, over here, the labor is intensive, like someone who is already hired for 1 month, like that. They are like this. Self employment, less capital intensive, expert promotion, seed beds for agriculture scale industry, so location manually. Correct? And I was like, everything is fine. Then why you basically, what was the problem? So difficulty in finance, shortage of raw material, difficulty in marketing, then updated mechanism and equipment, competition from large scale industry is very high. These were the problem and the characteristics. Okay, so quickly write it. Okay, done?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now foreign trade. Okay, so for earlier there was a situation, for example, you want to sell something to foreign, then you have to pay the taxes. So the taxes were sometimes okay, but sometimes like very difficult to pay and all that because they are already paying something, right? So decline in the percentage share of agriculture, increase the percentage share of manufacture, sorry, change in direction of export trade and all that, decline the Britain as their trading partner and all that. Okay, so this was the foreign trade. Then trade economy. In this first 7 year plan of India, the trade was completely called um, inward looking trade strategy. So because the of course in or for the long one we cannot do it, but for example in the river rafting and all that, you know, that's also you can say the trade one it is, right? The import substitution, everyone is trading. You purchase something from anywhere, there also they are trading like that. It had to say foreign exchange for the reducing import of India, so we will try to save it so that reduce they can reduce this, and created a protected market and a huge demand for domestically product goods. Okay, help to build a strong industrial base in our country, which directly leads to economic growth. Okay. Hmm. Okay, done. Okay. So over here, trade policies basically I already mentioned. All this it did not lead to inefficiency, growth, and all that. Then industrial licensing. What is this? If you want to establish an industry, you have to take permission from the government, right? So regulation of industrial development in accordance with the planned priorities, right? So over here, industrial development, they have the planned priorities. That okay, there's that and all that. These are the main objective, IRDA, right? This avoidance of monopoly. So over here, when there are multiple industry, monopoly cannot be maintained. Monopoly is basically single rule, right? It is not possible to have single. Then balance regional development. Then prevention of under competition between large scale and this. So large scale, I think like this snow one and the snow things like a big one like that also. And optimum utilization of scarce foreign exchange resources under the following condition. So criticism under industrialization. There was an ad hoc system of accepting or rejecting as application for license, right? The quality of TECO economic examination conducted by Director General of Technical Development was generally poor. Okay. Then licensing policy resulted in underutilization of capacity in many industries. In reality, the policy helped the huge business house in accumulating economic power. Okay, and this permit licensing right. The licensing authorities may a typical may a times granted license to big industry houses without proper scrutiny of their application. Right, that is called this permit licensing Raj. Okay, quickly write it down. Read it.
Ma'am, done.